Welcome back to your favorite comedy finance channel. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I got someone very serious with us today, so there's not going to be too much comedy. But, I've been noticing a lot of different cases are being dismissed lately. And Dragonchain is literally the only company I continuously think about every single time I see the stupidest shit getting dismissed. So, how you been, man?
Good, I mean, busy. There's a lot going on, so a lot to do.
Yeah. So what's been going on your side, like update wise, like with the case and all that stuff? Weren't you guys due, like they pushed it back out or something?
Yeah, we were the first to get a stay and post Gensler SEC. We got a 90-day stay. I think it expires sometime late April, and the thought was to get enough of a window of time there that they'll have time to walk through and come to our case and see how obvious it is that it shouldn't be. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. And in the meantime, we've been, we've put out 2 open letters. We have another one that should be coming out next week. I hope next week. We have a bunch of signatures on the open letters, and we've been trying to get the community. We put an AI tool together so that people can produce accurate letters that they can then send to the crypto task force. They can send to, Doge, President Trump, all of those appropriate parties. And it's been working pretty well so far. The goal is to get, for example, when the crypto task force starts publishing all of those emails that they're getting for input, we're hoping that we have a good footprint that when you're scrolling through the published emails, that you're going to see high percentage of Dragonchain
I mean, you
specifically.
guys had a stronger case than Ripple, I feel like.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
especially with it being like an ERC20 on top of ETH, and you guys have your own decentralized network.
Yep. Yep.
And not only that, it's not like, see, the whole problem with the whole, like, the ICO nonsense back in 2017 was that it was all predicated on like just the token being available.
Right.
It wasn't even like Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, they didn't create the blockchain of XRP. David Schwartz didn't create it either. It was a guy named Ryan Ruger, I believe it was.
I didn't know
And
that.
he had sold Ripple to Chris and David, or no, I'm sorry, Brad and David, and then Chris Larson came on later. But again, this is kind of the same scenario where a chain was handed off to a new owner, and
Yeah.
that's basically what happened with you, because you had Disney create this chain with you, and like they ended up giving you ownership of this.
Hmm.
So which is weird. I'm surprised that I mean, at the time, maybe it was just too early to say. But I'm pretty sure now they'll probably be calling you at some point.
Maybe. Yeah, you never know. You never know. And it's harder too for our, it's a better case, I think, but it's also harder to explain because we don't follow the same mold that most projects do, where here's the chain and it's all the same. With our architecture, every single implementation can have its own chain, and they all talk together and they all work together to decentralize the proof. And there's a bunch of really interesting stuff there that makes it scalable. And yet when you bring that to somebody, even in the crypto world, they that's not what they're used to, so they don't sometimes know how to fit it into their worldview. But it's been 7 years in the public, so
Well, what do
uh
you think? What's your timeline in your head where you kind of feel like it's like they just got through dropping the case with Coinbase, and I believe there was another one that they just dropped with Gemini.
Yes.
So it seems like the exchanges are at the forefront, which again, these are the companies with a
Right.
lot of money too.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah, it's the ones who they either have a lot of money, there's a lot of money at stake, they probably have a lot of interested parties that with a lot of money that are talking all the time to high level people at the SEC and elsewhere. So that's probably a lot of it. I'm a little bit concerned because we've already posted 2 requests for meeting, and not even about the case, more than anything about what should the SEC be doing in this new regime that they're talking about related to non-financial and utility tokens, because those are near and dear to my heart. We work on a lot of projects that are interested and do have financials, of course, and those are important, but there are so many that are being ignored, so many use cases that will present massive value to the world, and yet they've been stomping on us for years, so not even understanding that. So, and they've so far not even acknowledged the request for a meeting. So I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. I don't know how long it'll be. I even told the Telegram group this morning, look, we don't know when they're going to come and talk to us. We don't know if they're going to come and talk to us. Maybe maybe I don't have the right blood type, right? Maybe I don't know the right people.
Yeah, maybe you're not
Maybe,
lizard enough.
yeah, maybe they'll just, decide, but they're going to have to deal with it when we go to court. They're going to lose, and we know that they're going to lose because
I feel like there could be guilt hindering them from talking to you guys first, because I feel like, see, here's the problem I see. Like, okay, I personally feel the case is going to get dismissed probably sometime this year, just based on like how many cases are being dropped between January and now. But I just think that the bigger issue that I think the SEC is going to have is lawsuits against them, because think about how much money in legal fees, how much money in an investment loss for the value due to a overreaching SEC. So I think some of the guilt could be hindering them. Like, I can imagine, like Library Coin would probably have a case against them too at this point, because it's like, you guys, we did everything right. Dragonchain has done everything right. You guys have real products. You have applications on app stores. You guys build great things. So you have the proof that you have a product. It's not just
yeah,
a coin.
right.
So for all the scrutiny, the defamation, the loss of value, a lot of those things I feel are I think you should be compensated for that, or reimbursed
Yes.
uh, of those legal fees. But again, we'll hit the first speed bump first, just getting the case dismissed. But I do think that is going to prevent them from talking to certain people in a rush. You know.
Probably so. Probably so. And we're smaller. We don't have the money we once had. And you mentioned that we even a small company, we spent millions in legal fees that we shouldn't have had to do. And we and our customers lost billions in value, that because these bureaucrats decided, well, we're told to come after us, when they still 7 years later don't even understand what Dragonchain is. And it's the craziest thing in the world. You would think, oh, investigation, they're going to go through and say, okay, what is this really about? But they'd never brought in on their side anybody with any technical acumen to evaluate anything about what Dragonchain is. It was always all lawyers, and by the way, all securities lawyers. So they've never given us a fair shake in that way. So, and
They just got through saying meme coins are no longer securities, so it's just like,
right, it's what we thought all
you know.
along. The less real value you bring, and the more shilly, the more BS it is, the more likely they're going to leave you alone. And it's the craziest damn thing. It's
It is weird. It kind of reminds, it's funny. And I was looking at different quotes by different people, and I actually ran into some of the quotes from the Unabomber. And and there was a quote that I liked, and he was like, "You're allowed to do anything you want in this country as long as it's not important."
I haven't seen that one. That's so.
It's a really good one. It's like as long as it's unimportant, you're allowed to do it, or something like that. Yeah.
Yep. I love.
I was like reading up on just different people's quotes and stuff like that. And the only reason why I ran into a conversation about them was because we were talking about techno bureaucrats. So, you think about how much technology has, put us into the future, but, a lot of it has put a big strain on the social culture. There's a lot of different things that technology does affect. I don't even like the logic that we're trying to push, that AI knows what's best for us and knows everything and is always correct. And it's just like, whoever programs that AI, it doesn't matter who it is going to have their spirit inside of that fucking app. So to me, I just think that, like, as much as they want to say that, AI is the next god, basically, I just don't see it there. I think it's more along the lines of the creators wanting to be God because they want to be right about whatever that thing spews out.
Yep. Well, that's the reason that they set it up like that. It's almost like Bene Gesserits from Dune, right? That they set all these things out in front of them. They essentially know that they are going to control what the AI says. It's censored. All of the major AI platforms that are out there, all of them have a huge deal of censorship because on the one hand, I understand it. There might be some risk because they're publicly traded when that AI becomes racist or anti-Semitic or whatever else that all AI tends to do naturally, and that they therefore they can certain things. I've joked that I think that is probably their main form of monetization is censorship. That if you don't want someone looking up you and finding real info about you, you need to pay them. We know companies do that, and we know nations do that. But then they're going to push this technocrat side of, oh, the AI says this is the right thing to do. This is the way to preserve our democracy, and all the rest of that BS. So it's all a game. Humane intelligence with behavior tech based on voluntary activity in a transparent network on blockchain, everything on chain. And that's the way. That's the way of the future that will actually respect your humanity and will leverage.
You can't program the soul or the spirit into code, and that's what, unfortunately, a lot of these uh, uh, technology guys want to push out. Where oh well, the human mind and the human logic could be coded in somewhere, and it's just like there's so many different, like, conundrums that could pop up for a human to answer, and the answer is always led by what they feel spiritually. You know what I mean? Like, who would you save, the man or would you save the child? Would you save the mom or you save the child? Like, there's all those different things that come into play that, I just feel like the human brain is so much bigger, so much better than AI could ever be, but they'll never give us credit for that. They want a product in front of us to say, listen to this, don't listen to yourself.
Yep.
Well,
and they're all, by the way, the thing that really sucks about it is, when you're trying to build something, build a business, build a project, whatever it is, you need resources, and you can get volunteers, of course. You can do sweat equity compensation, things like that. But if you need money, all the sources of money except for what crypto has done in the past 8 years, are corrupt. They don't want to give you money unless they have full control. They don't believe in these things. And you can see it in AI. You could see it in what was social networks prior to way in the back. That what they do is they essentially try to explode the valuation. So they put some money in, they explode the valuation, and in all these cases, there's a ton of fakery. I mean, you look at the social network stuff, Reddit, Twitter, Facebook,
A lot of bots.
WhatsApp. They were all bots, and they have admitted that now. And it's fraud because they use those bots
Yes.
to raise money. They said
They said, "Oh, we do
users."
we have that many users, but how many
Yeah,
humans?"
it's fraud.
Yeah.
And when you're trying to compete with them as an honest, not wanting to commit fraud, not having the umbrella that they do have, right? Because
Mhm.
if I did that, they would come after me in an instant, right? So when I don't do that, there's like, oh, you don't have enough users. Your network is not as powerful. Why is it not doing what this network is doing? So anyway, it's kind of rough, but I think long term, some of these tools are going to pan out, and it's going to be a massive value that when people get involved and they put their their energy and their money into some of these things, it's going to be huge. Like what's happened in crypto so far has largely been fakery. I mean, there's
Well,
most of
it's
the
always
stuff.
been like who could make the best illusions in the crypto space, right?
Exactly,
And
exactly.
but again, I do think that Dragonchain is going to get liberated, but I do think that the awareness and the recognition for the product is going to come sooner than later. I saw a lot of people were asking like about, oh well, what's the future roadmap for Dragonchain in 2025? It's a completed product. See, roadmaps are a promise to create something.
Right.
So a blue chip utility token already has a product, already has applications on app stores. It's already complete. It's a completed project. And now, because it has a fully functioning business model, it can only grow from its levels today into something bigger as we go into the future, especially as regulations are literally clearing the pathway now. All these cases are being dropped.
Right.
Dragonchain is going to be re-recognized for what it is.
Hmm.
And I do think a lot of people are missing that boat where it's just like, oh well, what's next? What's next? Well, Joe already did it. He's been getting scrutinized.
I
He's
mean,
been getting wrongly accused.
yep,
He's been completely treated unfairly. So
yep,
it's not a matter of what's next. It's a matter of when are you going to let Dragon Chain be Dragon Chain? When are you going to let our products be out there like that? Without all this, scrutiny, because a lot of admins out there, a lot of CEOs, they were scared to build in public. They were scared to market.
oh yeah,
In fact, a lot of people, were so scared that they registered their tokens as equities. That's how scared they were, even
yeah,
though they're not equities. Which this is what kind of got me mad around those times, because it was like there was different projects that are starting to register their tokens as securities or equities, but then on their website they would disclose that the tokens were not representative of stake ownership. So it was like, so why did you register it as
yeah,
an equity? Well, I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Well,
So
I will say so many of them took took advice of attorneys without any cross understanding. I mean, you have to take the advice of your attorneys. They know the law, but those attorneys have to understand the tech to some level. It doesn't, they have to be developers, but they can't actually give you good advice if they don't understand the tech. They're just going to treat it as, oh, this is just a security. This is just, when they
yeah.
have no understanding of this, of what it's for, what it is. And same thing. I can't even tell you how many projects I've seen totally fail because they were essentially coded into a corner by their lawyers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is a point where you say, okay, if this is our goal, and if the current law by the attorney I trust says I can only do this, maybe that project shouldn't be made yet, right? Or we'll take it and work on it in Europe or Asia or something. But as it is, too many projects just went down that path and failed. It's really
Yeah.
frustrating.
Well, the roadway is definitely being cleared, and we'll see if Trump puts no capital gains tax on American companies. We'll see how that works.
Yep.
Yeah, see, the Trump is the master of talking about a lot of cool stuff and then just you forget about it later.
Yeah.
But what's next for Dragonchain? I know because you guys do live streams every week.
Yep.
And that's another thing. It's like you guys are still here. You know what I mean? Like you're still here, you're still working, you're doing live streams. What I would actually like personally is if there was like PFP NFTs or some sort of something to get people to represent Dragonchain, because like a lot of the members or a lot of my members and then also a lot of Dragonchain community people, they are making their own stuff and then trying to represent Dragonchain, but it's like, well, it would be better if we could support something that you guys create. I think the last time we were talking, you had a lot of different artwork that hasn't been published yet.
Yep. Yeah, we have there's a lot of stuff that we have. It's interesting, and probably because we came out of Disney, and probably because we took a dragon as a mascot, that we have a lot of really cool cultural elements that are there for quite a while, and we should be using those. We haven't, we've been flying under the radar for years now, just trying to keep things moving, keep building what we can. Everybody on the team right now, I will tell you, me included, is a volunteer. Some of us put money in, personal money in, not taking money because they stole it all from us. And so we're now in the process. Okay, this is going to open up. We know it will. So what do we do to get the resources we need to finish? Like you say, what's next? Draria is super close to coming out. We have everything. We're working on a couple of licensing issues and a couple of other things that we have to figure out and then test it. And that's an amazing long-term big project. We have another one that relates to streaming and socials in a way that no one's ever done. Will be super interesting, especially when you look at how we're going to provide liquidity for some of the token economics. And then we have other things like Eternal that that's been there since 2019, I think.
I love that. I love that thing.
And it needs a little bit of TLC though. Like we haven't had the resources. We like the bot was shut off because Elon Musk, made it so you had to pay for the bots in a way that it can't scale. So we have to figure out how to work that. But we have a plan for it even that I think, how do I say this? It is a better way to do archival than everybody else out there who's just a charity. And you go to archive.org and it pops up, hey, give us some money. And that shouldn't be necessary. That we have a model that with the token economics would make it super beneficial, and where people will sponsor stuff. And you imagine if you put a tweet on Eternal, and that tweet is important. Let's say it's a politician, and it gets deleted, and we say that any deleted tweet you can make an NFT out of. You own the NFT. When people go in for that archived info, it's the only place they can get it, and you own the ad space, right? That type of thing. So it's something like that we're talking about doing, and that's a small project even. So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on. We have We have a couple of partners that are rolling things out as we speak. We have a couple of offerings that'll come up pretty soon, whether or not we get the case dismissed. And so those I'll make sure you guys know about. But and then I'm trying to think. There's I mean, I will look into the NFTs, as you said, because it would be a good way for us to to get a little bit of revenue in, as well as
Exposure.
and exposure and all all the things that would come with it. So yes, that's on the list.
And let me ask you this: Can other other projects could launch on top of your chain too? Can't they?
Oh yeah, I mean that's the whole point. Is you can, with Dragonchain, come in, have your own chain, and all of the proof rises up to Bitcoin and Ethereum and a few other chains. And so we have a really interesting model for that nobody else has, where we can measure the value of the proof that you see on chain. Most other chains can say, yeah, this is on chain. It's like, okay, it's great, but what would it cost me to attack that and fake it, right? They can't answer. So we have some real clear metrics, and they've been in place for years now, so we're confident in them. But I don't know. There's a lot coming up, and one of the other big things too that it is a completed product. I think Dragonchain is the current implementation is probably the 4th iteration. We had something internal at Disney. We had one at Disney that we released. We've gone through a few versions since we commercialized. But we are looking, now that we know how people use Dragonchain. Whereas when we first rolled out, you don't know who's going to use it. You don't know how it's going to pan out. We're going to radically simplify the network infrastructure so that it's super simple to deploy onto Raspberry Pi or even an Arduino device or something, but also so that you could run verification nodes on your laptop, or very simple for people who aren't super technical.
That'd be cool. I've always wanted something like that, where because not everyone's going to be able to either afford a rig or put some crazy rig together,
right?
So it's always cool to see something where like you could use everyday products and it'll still do a job, maybe not as efficiently as a like super rig, but it's doing something, what I mean? And that's that's what people want. They don't, clearly they always want to make more, but it's if all they have is a particular set of resources, then anything is better than nothing, right?
Yep. And it's crazy too, because even that with Dragonchain is so different, because the efficiency of your hardware doesn't even matter, as long as it can do if you're talking about verification, that time is what matters, and so if you have dragons and you get time, that literally is what affects your earnings. And if you're on the business side, then that's what affects your fees. So the more time you have, the lower your fees are. And that's important stuff. And I think that a lot of the larger enterprises that have been very slow to act. Some of them have been slow to act just because they're conservative by nature, but some of them are slow to act because we've been I guess called out by the SEC. So a lot of those groups don't have the courage or backbone that I think they should have.
No, what's stupid is you guys were like a main story. Like it was like Dragonchain and XRP were the main story. So it's like, why are they taking so long for these cases? They should have been the first thing to happen. But the exchanges are obviously going to get their wave first, and then I think it'll trickle down to all the different projects.
Yeah.
But let's say in a perfect world, within the next year to 2 years, what do you want to see happen for Dragonchain?
I want to see all these projects roll out and give them a chance for real adoption, because all of them are focused on real world utility, not on the hype. I mean, some of them are designed so that they should produce an organic engagement and hype, like Dracaria. It has. I actually joke about it. I think there's a chance we'll get the Nobel Prize for Economics for the algorithmic supply and pricing structures, because I think they're going to pull eyeballs into it. That it's going to be so interesting and unique, and nobody knows what the price will be until certain things happen, right? And so it's going to be super interesting, and it's far more valuable, in my opinion, than just saying, okay, we're going to produce 10,000 dragons in this, of these characters that you could consider them not unlike NFTs. They are NFTs, but really they are collectible characters with genomes, and there's a whole bunch of amazing tech in it.
And there's something playable as well. Like it's like
Right.
something you could play with and use and stuff like that. I feel like that's just something that NFTs are missing. Like I like the NFT PFPs for like profile pictures, or like NFT attached to an item. But
Right.
I've always like brought it up, and I was thinking about doing it myself at one point, but I was like, oh, I got too much to do. But I would love to see, and it sounds like Dracaria would be kind of fitting this frame, is where you have NFTs that work like trading cards, because that's what NFTs are supposed to be. It's supposed to be like a collectible for people to buy, sell, trade.
Yep.
So for me, I just think it would be awesome to have NFTs that are playable, that have some sort of prediction market, where it's just like, well, if phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 happens, then this will evolve the NFT to a higher value, or this or that.
Yep.
So I do think it's gonna. I think there's a lot that you're gonna be able to like publicly talk about now, and you're gonna like. I always tell our community, it's like, back then people were so afraid to market, or so afraid to really post about what their projects do, or that they exist. And now you kind of have like that nice free stage for you to start shouting at the rooftops about what you have, what you could do. And at the end of the day, me and you both know this case is going to get dismissed. It's not a matter of if, it's when,
Right. Yep. Yes. Yep. Well, and you think about that, talking about tangible. I mean, so much of this tech is still abstract to a lot of people. They get Bitcoin. Most people get Bitcoin kind of now. But a lot of the rest of what I'm mostly interested in is, you'll get, people just, glazed eyeballs when you talk to them about it. And so, we still have a big effort in front of us to make it understandable to people. And I think one of the primary things is putting it in their hands, or making it more tangible. It might be a
Yeah.
virtual dragon that you get, but when you realize, oh, this dragon is different from that dragon because it came from this blockchain entropy, which is, it's a mind-blowing thing. And
Mhm.
you can imagine if people making Pokemon cards realize, okay, we might only have, hey, this is a super rare item, and I don't know what that would be,
So
1,000 of them or something. Imagine if every single one, even though, okay, I have a class of these, there are 1,000 of them, they're only 1,000, but
Mhm.
every single one is unique. And when it was first created, it's impossible to to fake that genome that was created, right? And it's impossible to predict it before it happens. And that's some of the other beauty that, like with Dracaria,
So
you get an egg.
like the NFTs are going to be like CGI and all that, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll be three-dimensional maybe, or whatever. Well,
Mhm.
in the computer, it tells you the dimensions of those CGI models. I always thought it would be cool. I mean, this is just, I'm just throwing an idea out there, but I've always thought it'd be so cool if, since the artwork is already usually CGI and that comes with the particular dimensions, if you were to upload that into like a 3D printer and print out your fucking NFT image, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
That'd be
Oh yeah.
so badass, dude.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
just certain things I think about where I'm like, man, there's just so many like applications that I want to create or I want to see get created,
Oh
and it's only a
man.
matter of time.
I'm telling you the other thing. People kind of understand D&D, where you roll a character and here's a character and you play through and get a history and items and all that stuff. In any RPG, in fact. But the thing that we've been looking at are, let's say I have this character and it has this genome that is, arbitrarily large. Right now we're working with 32 byte genomes, but you could make it as many bytes as you need to encode that thing that you're the character. That these could actually impact the way games work, that they become, and what we want is something that's unpredictable, something that, let's say, a strategy that you and your friends come up with that nobody else has noticed yet. That if I bring a character with this gene at a certain value and you bring a character with that gene at a certain value, we can decimate our enemies with these things, because they don't understand that these things are interacting in a pretty complex organic way. It becomes more realistic, for one thing, and harder to predict, and a lot richer environment to play games in. And we've been doing a lot of research, even all the way down to like card games. You can make card games that are far more interesting than they are right now, because the variety and the monetization, by the way, is huge, because that means instead of selling a game, you'll buy a game and you play the game until you're done playing it, and whatever you do then. If instead you are buying characters, the game's free, you're buying the characters, and so you're going to keep buying characters until you get the right combination, and you might buy some in the future when there are special characters, and that monetization then is a lot bigger and better than it could be otherwise. So, and richer.
Yeah, especially when you can like have the imagination to customize and rearrange different things.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna cut this one short. I'm running out just a little bit of time, but I think me and you both know this battle is almost over for you. So we still support you, and a lot of us have, I've held Dragonchain for over 3 years now, so I'm still fairly new compared to the OG community. But I saw this all coming, like years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell a lot of our members, I'm like, it would be such a shame for you not to be holding Dragonchain, and you knew 3 years in advance that this is about to happen, and you're watching cases drop like flies every single day. It's only a matter of time till there's a full sweep of things.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for taking the time to come talk with us. Let's definitely do it again. And anything you want to say before you go?
Thanks to all of your gang. They've been great. They're funny, and I enjoy seeing them post. So it's all good. And yeah, if anybody has questions, let us know. I would invite people to go to Dragonchain on X and look for.
Can you actually send me the Telegram link to my text?
Yes.
And
yes,
and then that way, what I'll do is I'm gonna upload the Telegram link and I'll pin it to the top of the comment section.
Okay. And the other is to check out. We introduced an AI tool called Lucius Probator Aeternus, who's the character is a Roman centurion that will help you write a letter to your congressman. But it has it's been trained up, all of the
That'd be perfect. We just send the letters right away.
It has our patents, it has everything we've ever published. It has a bunch of white papers, including a few that haven't been published. And so you can ask it questions about, hey, I need to write about a certain industry or a certain use case, and I need to write to this party, either a business or a congressperson or something, and you can tell it, you can do all the normal things.
Reminds me of kind of like the AI lawyer, but
yeah,
but
amazing. It keeps it accurate, and it helps normal people write engaging content that is also accurate, and it's so far been amazing. It's improved the content out there. So I'll send you that. I'll send you the signature form for people to sign. The open letter.
I signed mines for sure already. But yeah, send that over and I'll get that put into ODAP. But thank you for coming, Joe. Thanks for spending the time, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Anytime. Thanks so much.
No problem.